right, here we go. Eyes open, everybody.
Good afternoon, and welcome to graduation. This afternoon, we extend our warmest welcome to our families, our faculty, our friends, and especially to our seniors, whom we are honoring today with University School's highest award, our diploma. We come together this afternoon to celebrate the highlight of the 2012 academic year, the graduation of our senior class, and to gather with our seniors and their families for one last time. Today is a day of thanks. Seniors, a day to thank all the friends, family, and teachers who nurtured you, taught you, held your hand and dried your tears, who helped you get to the front row seats today. When do you choose a front row seat? At the Bucks game? Or the Katy Perry concert at Summerfest? Of course, at USM, we make you take a front row seat, whether you're in a circle in first grade classroom or talking about mythology in sixth grade English. Your teachers always made sure you were in the front row because a front row seat guarantees the full academic experience. This afternoon, you seniors are right here in the front rows, so we can honor you and we can look at you. But how about next year? Where will you sit in your college class? Some of you may be attending large universities where there are lecture halls. Some of you may be in classrooms with rows. Some of you may have professors who come to you online, so there's only a virtual front row. You are about to begin the second most important experience of your life. Yes, I said second because I think your 4 years in upper school are the most significant in your formation, not only in what you have learned from your teachers and from your books, but also from what you have learned from your friends. They play a very important role in deciding who you are. This afternoon will be the last time you take a front row in our school. Let this afternoon serve as an inspiration for next year. Remember what you learned here and move right up and choose a seat front and center, both in the classroom and in your life. Take charge of yourself and step up to every challenge you meet, because a front row seat guarantees a full life, an academic life in college for sure, but another life too, a life of love and laughter and warm connections with human beings. Seniors, since entering upper school, you have acquired knowledge, experience, friends, and even wisdom. Now, together, surrounded by families, classmates, and teachers, you stand proud and ready for your new life. And so, as we begin our splendid celebration, I invoke the divine spirit that animates us all to watch over you as we send you off to make new lives for yourselves, lives full of choices and lives full of joy. I welcome each and every one of you to this celebration of who you are and who you will become. Welcome, welcome to graduation.
Parents and grandparents, friends and students, on behalf of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, I am delighted to join Mrs. Lyons in welcoming you to this joyful commencement celebration for University School of Milwaukee's class of 2012. Before we begin celebrating our guests of honor, our students, please allow me a moment to introduce some special guests who have joined me on the graduation stage. The chair of our Board of Trustees, Mr. Mike Roth. Today's graduation speaker and grandfather of one of our seniors, Mr. Sheldon Lubar. Once again, our upper school head, Mrs. Rosie Lyons. the Assistant Upper School Head, Dr. Henry Wend, Assistant Head of School, Mr. Greg Bach, our Lower School Head, Dr. Carolyn Lang, and Middle School Head, Mrs. Pam Nosbush. Please also join me in welcoming members of our Board of Trustees, Mrs. Deanna Dorr, Mr. Tom Florsheim, Mr. Fred Galfus, Mr. Steve Geimer, Mr. Lance Johnson, Ms. Sangeeta Khanna, Dr. Bill Pennington, Mr. Mike Ruth, Dr. Anthony Ross, Mr. Dick Cecil, Ms. Gillian Stewart, Mr. Buddy Tucker, Mr. Bob Venable, and Mrs. Marina Rosenberg. I ask that you join me also in thanking the people who have labored tirelessly behind the scenes to prepare for this splendid graduation day. These are our hardworking, devoted staff members who put countless hours into organizing graduation, preparing the grounds, the buildings, the setup for the rehearsals, and the 600 chairs that stand before us. Mrs. Nancy Yeager, Mrs. Dawn Taylor, the USM grounds, maintenance, security, housekeeping, and food service crews. Please join me in offering them a round of applause. I would also like to take a moment to thank the upper school retirees who will graduate today with the class of 2012, Mr. Steve Bremer, Mr. Brian Pack, and Mr. Tom Richardson. Now I turn to you, parents, grandparents, relatives, and friends who have supported and raised the class of 2012. You have provided exceptional resources for these young men and women, not only in terms of opportunities, but most importantly, through the gifts of your love and time. When they needed you and they needed your support, you helped them. And when they needed you more, you carried them. It is you who have provided boundaries and latitude, standards and forgiveness. You have allowed them to explore, but still know where home is. You are their bedrock. Seniors, you have accomplished much. As you leave behind the safety and security of this extraordinary community on Ferry Chasm Road, the world awaits you. And what a wonderful citizen of the world you will be. But today, before we let you sail away, I would like to spend some time with you exploring some very basic and yet vitally important landmarks that I think will shape your life and hopefully perhaps give you a few points by which to help you measure success. You are smart, all of you. In fact, you wouldn't have been at USM if you were not. There may have been some days during the past 4 years, perhaps after receiving a discouraging grade on an English paper, or straining your cerebral resources over a complicated calculus problem, when you didn't feel so very smart. But trust me, you are smart, in ways you may not even recognize today as you sit before us. And interestingly, life will over and over again challenge your definition of what it means to be smart. And you will find that it will change, as you grow. But being smart, it is good. It gives you a leg up on life, so to speak. And as you sit before me today, class of 2012, the focus of this graduation is to celebrate that you are now more than just smart. You are well on your way to being educated. Yes, you have completed a rigorous course of study. Being at USM certainly assures you of that. The path may have been slightly different for each of you, but trust me, it was rigorous. I have grown to know this faculty, their expectations, their desire to ensure that you are prepared for the next step of your journey. So I know that there is not even one of you who has escaped learning, and more importantly, you have learned about what it means to be truly educated. You have learned to understand how you learn as individuals, putting to practice techniques that assist each of you in the accumulation of knowledge, skills, and habits of mind. And why is this important? Will you ultimately remember every detail of every lesson you embarked on here at USM? Will you remember every detail from your 9th grade reading of the Odyssey? How about the 10th grade reading of All Quiet on the Western Front? Will each piece of your 11th grade history paper or the 12th grade memorization of Hamlet's To Be or Not to Be stay with you throughout life? Will you remember it all? Well, of course not. But you have learned how to learn, and you have accumulated a body of knowledge that will inform you in your next level of education. But I think most importantly is that with education comes self-confidence. And some of you are undoubtedly already feeling that, experiencing some of this feeling of confidence, that kind of aha moment. The realization that I know things, I know many things, but most importantly, I know how to make things happen. And if you aren't there yet, if you haven't had that aha moment, you will. When? Next fall. When you are sitting next to people in your university classes, students from all over the country and the world, students who have not had the benefits of the education that you have received at USM, I promise you, that is when you will understand what you have today. Your education is undoubtedly the most important tool in your life skills toolbox. It is the one that will take you the furthest, and it will endure regardless of what stresses life brings to you. It cannot be taken away from you. It is truly yours. So all of this is a result of the gift that has been provided to you by your parents over the past several years. The gift of this education, this experience at university school. But there is something that you are not. You are not experienced. And there is no way to short-circuit the lessons to be gained from experience. And I used to get really frustrated by that when I was young, when I was your age, and people would mention that I lacked experience. It didn't seem fair to me then. Was it my fault that I was too young to have had the opportunity to accumulate experience? How important could this be, I asked myself. It was not until years later, many, many chapters and many, many experiences later, that I realized just how very important this is. You see, seniors, with experience, what I hope for you is that you will gain humility. Life's events will not all be pleasant and easy for you. These situations will humble you in very, very important ways. You will make mistakes. You will fail. You will be frightened. And quite frankly, you will mess up. And actually, that's really good. With these experiences, both good and bad, comes the recognition that life is simply not black and white, but rather it is many, many shades of gray. With this experience will come your understanding and celebration of the talents and ideas of others, recognizing that they are different from yours in important ways and that the difference is not bad. This is what completes the mosaic of life. This is what makes it work. Class of 2012, this is what comes next. Some of this experience will be gained in college, many more experiences after that. Each job, each relationship, each event, both the positive ones, but I dare say more often the negative ones, shape us and define us. And now one word of warning. Some people, unfortunately, never seem to move beyond being smart and educated. They get stuck there because it's comfortable. It is where they feel confident. It makes them feel secure, so they never take risks. They shy away from difficult challenges and situations. I dare say they almost seem to hide behind their education. Today, I suggest to you, seniors, do not do that. Realize that the more you know, the more aware you are of what you don't know, with experience and with this knowledge of what you don't know, the realization that sometimes others know more, and perhaps this is why their opinions differ from yours. This should bring you the important ingredients of humility, empathy, and acceptance of others and their ideas. So seniors, I suggest to you, take some risks, acquire experience. Do not be afraid to let your confidence get rocked a little bit. As a recent speaker at our Global Scholars Dinner suggested, this humility that life will hopefully impart upon you, balanced with the confidence you gain from being smart and educated, is what will lead you toward the ultimate level to which everyone can aspire. But unfortunately, not many achieve. It is saliently recognizable when you are with a person who possesses this. This ultimate phase, the one reached by a small, exclusive group, I dare say, is that of attaining wisdom. I believe that people who are wise, truly wise, are immediately identifiable. I'm not even sure I can articulate why. They seem to talk and walk and see life from a unique and unmistakably different vantage point than the rest of humanity. They seem to be calm and reflective, and at the same time, they possess great foresight and the ability to think expansively. They have no need to force their views on others, and yet others are constantly reaching out to them, almost pleading with them to share their ideas and their thoughts. They typically are considered leaders, and they are long remembered even after they are gone. They leave an undeniable legacy, a wake of impact as they move through life. I believe this achievement of wisdom can only come from lengthy and diverse experiences. Wise individuals usually have lived through much adversity. They have experienced failure, sometimes multiple failures, but they never, ever stayed down. Their wisdom seems to be a result of struggling to right themselves, getting back up, always moving forward. Some people achieve wisdom, gain empathy and compassion from the difficult times in their lives. Others grow bitter or give up. You need to make that choice. You need to learn from all experiences, to lean into them, try to take away a lesson. If not anything more than how to be empathetic toward others when they go through a similar difficult experience. Wise people seem to possess a great understanding of people and their interactions. So graduates, you are smart and you are educated. You don't have much experience yet, and it's not your fault. You just haven't been around long enough, and therefore you're not quite wise yet either. But you know what you do have? As you sit here before us today, you have potential. You have great potential. So as you leave USM, as you leave the security of this campus, the support and the friendship of this faculty, and you launch into your own unique set of experiences, I leave you with this thought, something you need to know, that sometimes moving on from a world dense with memories is necessary for the soul to prosper. Class of 2012, be well and be strong. Be men and women of substance, caring, and love. Strive for wisdom, and do come back to us. Inspire us with your accomplishments. We will miss you so. A core strength of our school is its long history, dating back to its earliest predecessor school in 1851. And from that history comes a long line of students who, like you, have walked across the school stage upon graduation, and then proceeded to become integral members of the school community as alumni. Members of the class of 2012, you will soon become University School of Milwaukee alumni, a role we hope that you will assume with great pride. Today, I am honored to present the Alumni Service Award that is given to an alumnus or alumna by the University School Alumni Board of Directors in grateful recognition of achievements in working toward the betterment of University School of Milwaukee and to the community which it serves. On behalf of the USM Alumni Association, we are pleased to introduce our 32nd honoree, Carla Campbell Bartlett, class of 1978. Please join us on stage, Carla. During her many years of volunteer service for USM, Carla served in numerous roles within the Parents Association, from JK sponsor to 12th grade boys sponsor, from chair of allocations to chair of the nominations committee, and in 1997 as co-chair of the Now Holiday Shops. And this is just a short representation of the many areas in which Carla committed her time, her creativity, and her energy. Between the years of 2002 and 2011, Carla was also a member of the USM Board of Trustees and served as co-chair of USM Next Generation Phase 1 Campaign Cabinet. In total, Carla's dedication and accomplishments have distinguished her as more than a dear friend to her beloved alma mater. It is with extreme pleasure that I present the 2012 Alumni Service Award to Carla Campbell Bartlett with sincere appreciation for your many, many years at USM. Determined, committed, and smart, Ishan Sinha has distinguished himself as a top student and a top citizen during his 4 years in the upper school. Ishan's teachers characterize him as a student who does much more than just read the material. He really thinks about it and asks critical questions that propel class discussion. Throughout the past 4 years, Ishan has challenged himself with our most rigorous courses, starting in Algebra 1 as a 7th grader and ending with our most advanced math class, Multivariable Calculus, this year. As recognition for his excellent performance on advanced placement exams, earning a top score of 5 on all 7 exams he took as a junior, Ishan has received the Siemens Award, one of the only 2 awarded in the state of Wisconsin. Ishan's service work with young people and his patience and compassion for others are further evidence of the many contributions he has made to University School. And we are proud to honor him as our valedictorian, representing the class of 2012.
Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Rabindranath Tagore, a legendary poet, songwriter, artist, and novelist, became the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in 1913. Although this poem is usually interpreted as a plea for Indian independence from the British, The political overtones serve as a metaphor for a much more profound, fundamental message on the importance of looking beyond just the individual journey. Today, we are faced with an increasingly ambitious society, one where an individual's worth is based on achievement. And now, as the next generation, we must seriously reevaluate this culture. We have become so narrow-minded in our pursuit of arbitrarily drawn goals that we often forget what is around us. Think about it. What are we working towards? Many of us, including me, pass through the school year, grudgingly living through 5 days of instruction and work for the sole purpose of reaching that 2-day respite or the next break. For the last 2 weeks, we have eagerly been waiting for the end of exams, and of course, this day in particular. In college, it will be the same story. When we join the workforce, the new goal will be to retire with a certain sum of money in our bank accounts. But if we live like this, we have cut our life short and effectively done the opposite of what Tagore imagined. We have trapped ourselves within narrow domestic walls and sunk into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Ultimately, we are more successful and happier when we connect with those around us. We have all experienced this on the sports field, in the classroom, and especially during the senior retreat earlier this year. However, this unity cannot be achieved by will alone. It requires one of the greatest capacities that we have been blessed with as humans: imagination. The ability to imagine is not something that should only be cherished by the creative or artistic. Imagination is not just conjuring up fantasy worlds and elaborate plots. It is a fundamental component in how we understand and empathize with those whose experiences we've never encountered. One of the greatest learning experiences of my life came over the past 2 years when I worked as a research intern at Aurora St. Luke's Medical Center. At the hospital, I conducted an impersonal, retrospective chart study. For months, I recorded data on patients who were receiving high-dose immunotherapy treatment for stage 4 metastatic melanoma and renal cell carcinoma. As I became more comfortable with the data table, patterns began to emerge. If a patient had a body mass index of over 30, which would constitute as medically obese, I would immediately set the patient's nutrition status to poor and the level of exercise to none on the data sheet. If the patient had a history of repeated drug or alcohol use, I would assume that the positive opiates test in his urine toxicology was an indication of sustained abuse. Practices like mine aren't rare in the world of medical research. In fact, they were taught to me by one of the directors of cancer care. This was done for the purposes of ease and efficiency. It was not until 18 months after I started conducting research that I finally understood that my imaginative scope was severely lacking. Oddly enough, my moment of understanding didn't come at the hospital. Instead, it came after reading a play that we all studied. In early April, I was sitting at Gate 3 at the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport after missing my 6:30 a.m. flight to Providence. With a 4-hour wait ahead of me, I took out the short play that I was supposed to finish for English class, Wit by Margaret Edson. By the end of the first scene, my skepticism was lost, and I became immersed in a drama that felt as though it could have taken place at the Cancer Counseling Center where I worked. 50-year-old protagonist Vivian Baring begins to play in the final hours of her life. Like the hundreds of subjects in my study, she is diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and asked to consider an experimental immunotherapy treatment. Despite the familiarity of this situation after my work at St. Luke's, the story of this English professor completely altered my perception of my research. Dr. Baring enters the story as an intellectual, undaunted by the prospect of death due to her in-depth study of mortality in John Donne's poetry. But the treatment destroys her vigor, and her emotional vulnerability soon becomes apparent. The impersonal treatment by her doctors forces her to realize the flaws and consequences of the strict academic fashion of her own teaching style. As a friendless woman, Baring must rely on her nurse, Susie, to provide comfort and empathy. Now imagine being alone in the hospital, diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer, hooked to several machines, undergoing excruciating pain, and facing the prospect of inevitable death. Finally, imagine that the reason you are sick is because of a treatment that isn't intended for you, but instead directed towards the progress of medicine. This is what it takes to appreciate the undertaking of Vivian Bering and the thousands of other patients who share her story. About 6 hours after I finished reading Wait, I arrived on Brown's campus and was taken to a reception for students in the medical program. The admissions director told the room, "I'm 100% confident that in 8 years, you students will be the type of holistic, compassionate physicians we want you to be." A day before, I wouldn't have been able to say this with certainty. Now, I can, thanks to the incredible powers of literature and imagination. A few days ago, I opened up my data sheet from St. Luke's and looked up where Bering would have been placed. Row 32. Do Vivian Bering and her story deserve to be reduced to the 32nd row in a spreadsheet of 240 patients? How about the other 239 patients? They all have unique stories, which are equally moving, even though they are not chronicled in print. A week and a half ago, when I took the advanced placement exam in English literature, the last free response question asked about the effects of a character's surroundings on his or her development. Bering's remarkable realization about the importance of empathy made me reflect on my own transformation as I responded to the prompt. Dr. Kalekian and Dr. Posner, the two main oncologists in the play, were not the people I would aspire to be. Yes, their intellect and medical success is commendable, but the story's author, Margaret Edson, makes the same point as Tagore. Ultimately, true success lies in compassion and the ability to forge relationships with other people. The appreciation and insight I gained from Wit demonstrate something more than the themes that Margaret Edson conveyed. They show how much we can all benefit from the study of liberal arts. My academic focus has always been geared toward math and science. Other subjects were often an afterthought. At the cum laude ceremony in October, I spoke about how my understanding of science and math has made me a more analytical reader and a critical writer. Today, I want to make the opposite plea. My study of the liberal arts at USM has complemented my focus in math and science. Courses in English, history, and politics have provided me a greater contextual understanding of my scientific studies, and most importantly, made me a more humane individual. Before I finish, I want to take this opportunity to thank our teachers for their incredible contribution to both our academic and personal growth. In their pursuit of a larger mission in life than just their own professional success, they have embodied the true significance of empathetic imagination, as they have become the foundation for the next generation of leaders, scholars, and innovators. We have the option, and perhaps the temptation, to suppress our ability to empathize with others and persist in mindless ambition. But now, we must use our future success and influence as a means for making the world a better place, just as our teachers have done for us. The poem I began with comes from the Gitanjali, one of Tagore's most notable works. In this same collection, Tagore writes, "I hunt for the golden stag. You may smile, my friends, but I pursue the vision that eludes me." Let us all embrace this call and realize the true goodness and power of imagination. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ishan. Mr. Sheldon B. Lubar is the founder and chairman of Lubar and Company, a private investment and venture capital firm. He was chairman and chief executive officer of the Christiana Companies. No? Sorry. Go ahead. Never mind, we're going to wait for just a minute. Sorry. I wondered where they were all going.
all'orizzonte manca le parole.
Sì, lo so che non c'è luce in una stanza quando manca il sole. Se non ci sei tu con me, con me. Sulle finestre mostra tutti il mio cuore che hai acceso. Chiudi dentro me la luce che hai incontrato per strada. Time to say goodbye. Pare sì che non ho mai veduto e vissuto con te. Adesso sì li vivrò con te. Partirò su navi per mari che io lo so, no, no, non esistono più. Con te io li vivrò. Quando sei lontana sogna l'orizzonte, manca le parole. E io sì lo so che sei con me, con me. Tu mia luna, tu sei qui con me. Mio sole, tu sei qui con me, con me, con me, con me. Time to say goodbye. Pare sì che non ho mai veduto e vissuto con te. Adesso sì li vivrò con te. Partirò su navi per mari che io lo so, no, no, non esistono più. Con te io li rivivrò, con te partirò su navi per mari che io lo so, no, no, non esistono più. Con te io li rivivrò, con te partirò.
Now, Sheldon B. Lubar is the founder and chairman of Lubar and Company, a private investment and venture capital firm. He was chairman and chief executive officer of the Christiana Companies Incorporated until its merger with Weatherford International in February 1999, and chairman of Total Logistics Incorporated until its acquisition in 2005 by SuperValue Incorporated. Widely known in financial circles, Mr. Lubar held governmental appointments under 3 presidents. President Jimmy Carter named him commissioner of the White House Conference on Small Business in 1979 and 1980. President Richard M. Nixon appointed him Assistant Secretary, Housing Production and Mortgage Credit, Department of Housing and Urban Development, and Commissioner of the Federal Housing Administration and Director of the Federal National Mortgage Association in 1973 and 74. He completed this service under President Gerald Ford. Mr. Lubar served as President of the Board of Regents of the University of Wisconsin System, having been appointed to the board by Governor Tommy Thompson in 1991. In 1991, Mr. Lubar served as co-chairman of the Governor's Conference on Small Business. He was a member of Governor Thompson's Commission on Taliesin, a member of the 1971 Wisconsin Commerce and Industry Task Force under Governor Patrick Lucey, and a policy committee member of the State Commission on Education under Governor Warren Knowles in 1969-70. He was trustee and acting chairman of the State of Wisconsin Investment Board from 1975 to 1979. Mr. Lubar has also been active in the arts, having served as president, chairman, and trustee of the Milwaukee Art Museum. He is founder and former chairman of the Wisconsin Policy Research Institute, a Milwaukee-based think tank, and was also the president of Summerfest. Mr. Lubar holds degrees in business administration and law from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and honorary doctorate degrees from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and the Medical College of Wisconsin. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a truly wise man, Mr. Sheldon Lubar.
My shoulders pure. Well, the good news is you're not going to hear any more about me. This is truly an impressive group of young people here. I knew it, but now I'm seeing it and hearing it. So let me start by saying good afternoon and sincere congratulations to all of you graduates who have all worked so diligently to get to this unforgettable moment. Let me also congratulate the faculty and staff of the university school. They have a fabulous reputation. The parents, families, and friends of the graduates, they have a fabulous reputation because some of my family is amongst them. You have all done your jobs very well, or these young people wouldn't be here today. And with your permission, I would like to have a special congratulation to my wonderful grandson, Patrick Lubar. Patrick, good job. We're proud of you and all of your classmates. You are all about to embark on the next chapter of your life. You will have ever less supervision. You will be able to vote for those of you who are not 18 yet. And you are on the way to becoming adults, or as you might say, grown-ups. At the outset, I promise you and Laura Fuller that I will adhere to the advice of President Franklin Roosevelt on speech making. He said, be sincere, be brief, be seated. You have my word on this. Now, as you might have guessed, if only by looking at me, I have been around a long time. I've traveled the world, I've climbed mountains, and got to the tops of a lot, and didn't get to the tops of a lot. I've been involved in many businesses. I've been involved, as you've heard, with the government and in philanthropy. I've worked with important as well as not important people, and have generally accomplished what I set out to do. Mary Ann, my wife, no, scratch that. But above all, I have had a very happy life, thanks to my wife of 60 years, Mary Ann. Our 4 children, 2 of whom graduated from the university school, and 11 grandchildren, 8 of whom attended or graduated from the university school. In addition to my family, I have loved my work, and that is important, and I hope you remember that. I intend to make 2 points in my remarks to you. I must say that the speakers I've heard at commencements usually start out with a disclaimer saying, no one will remember what was said here, not exactly Lincoln at Gettysburg, not that, but no one will remember what is said here today, and so then you can turn off your hearing aid and so forth. But I have two thoughts that I hope you will remember and use to your advantage as you travel your own particular pathway through life. First is, what is the objective? What is the object of life? And second, how can you achieve this objective? So starting at the beginning, what is the objective of life? What constitutes a good life? Simply put, I have come to believe happiness is the ultimate objective of life. But what is happiness? The best definition I know of happiness is a sense of lasting and justified satisfaction with one's own life as a whole. Satisfaction with your own actions and behavior. The pleasure you enjoy because of what has happened as a result of your efforts. Being a good student brings happiness. Later in life, being a good parent qualifies. Providing a good life for your family qualifies. Achieving goals that you have set for yourself qualifies. And certainly contributing to your community and to your country qualifies. But in the end, you yourself are the best judge of what qualifies for a happy life. I recently read a part of one of the Federalist Papers. It was number 62, and from what little I can learn on it, it was probably authored by James Madison. But as you know, the authors of the Federalist Papers are anonymous. But permit me to quote from that paper. "The object of government is the happiness of the people." A simple but true statement. There is no reference in this paper to prosperity, security, not even equality, only happiness. This thought was repeated in the preamble to the Declaration of Independence, in which the founders wrote that all men, and if I may be allowed the privilege to include women, all men and women are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Being proud of yourself and what you do, being decent and civil, will make you a happy person. The other message I have for you today is live in the present. Make each day a gift and be grateful for it. Plan ahead, but don't be worried about the future. My approach was to pursue life in short, attainable segments. Have short-term objectives that are goals along your lifetime path. I have found that there are perhaps only a half a dozen decisions in one's life that one will make in their lifetime that are truly life-changing. One of these decisions should be your commitment to continuing lifetime education after your college days are over. Whom you marry and what kind of a home you seek are both life changers. Not your first job, though. Although it may turn out to be your lifetime career, it may also only be experience and preparation for your lifetime career. Or you may follow my path and have many careers. Also, don't be afraid to experiment, nor be afraid to fail, as Mrs. Fuller said. I'll add that. None of us wants to fail. but it is a price one must be ready to pay for experimenting and trying new ways. And should you fail, learn from that experience, then get up and start all over again. It is the sum of all of your experiences along the way and willingness to try new things that will result in the satisfactions I spoke of earlier that I believe will bring you a happy life. It did for me. There's not a doubt in my mind that I am speaking to a graduating class that will produce the intellectual, business, and social leaders our country needs so badly today. I don't think any of you realize how much you are needed and how much of a difference you can each make. So without hesitation, I predict you all have the ability to live happy and productive lives, and that you will all make yourselves and your families proud. Henry David Thoreau said, and I quote, "The world is but a canvas to our imagination." And I add, trust your imagination and follow your dreams. I end with wishes for good luck, calm seas ahead, and thank you for having me today. God bless each and every one here, and God bless our country. Thank you.
Mr. Roth, Mrs. Fuller, on behalf of the faculty of University School of Milwaukee, I am delighted to present the class of 2012.
Today marks another graduation of sorts. 5 trustees' terms of service come to an end this school year. These folks have given generously of their time, talent, and energy on behalf of the school for the better part of the last decade. Their leadership and stewardship have been immeasurable. 4 of them have graduates in the class of 2012, and 4 of them are with us today. Fred Geilfuss, Lance Johnson, Sherry Cedar, and Bob Venable. The 5th is Bill Schuett. While our very good friend Bill is physically unable to attend today's graduation ceremony in person, his presence is very much here with us in the collective hearts of the university school community. Please join me in thanking and acknowledging these graduating trustees.
Margaret Elizabeth Ake. Iman Afsa Akbar.
Joshua Mark Baker. Jesse Lawrence Bell. Cassandra Nicole Bentz. Catherine Joe Bjurstrom. Stephen Gregory Booth, Jr. Morgan Danielle Bowen. Kelly Grace Bretthauer. Carolyn Louise Bridges. Adam Robert Brostowitz II. Rebecca May Buchanan. Nathaniel David Burke. Duke Richard Butler. Alexandra Maria Carlson. John James Casey. Colette Marie Cooper. Emma Christine Cranston. Margaret Victoria Crocker. Catherine Ann Downey. Sarah Ansari Falali. Nicole Christine Flannery. Forrest Thomas Florsheim. Billy Ann Fritz. Syed Ali Nawaz Gardezi. Benton Lawrence Geimer. Blake Catherine Gillespie. Madison Ann Glazer. Stephen William Grambo. Shiloh Hannah Sigal Gutengale. Margot Courtois Hageman. Charles Everett Houskey. Emily Ann Hendrickson. Georgia Stewart Hoagland. Kevlin Marie Holmes. Erica Elizabeth Hirth. Lauren Lee Isnard. Nicholas James Iverson. Sally Carol James. Holly Beatrice Jansen. Michael Joseph Jarris. Amanda Frances Johnson. Riley Remick Kelly. Charles Winston Kais. Nathan George Cuttacat. Brooke Madison Quasney. Alexis Taylor Lindsay. Patrick Israel Lubar. Fatima Malik. Christopher Daniel McGee. Marsalis Lawrence McGee. Ivy Walsh McKee. Ian James McKinney. Christopher Albert Myers. Imran Mohammed Mohiuddin. Richard Francis Mugley. Lindsay Amanda Neitzel. Cameron Khan Niazi. Tyler William Parks. Thomas John Pennington. Margot Elizabeth Peterson. Classy Starlexis May Pitts. Kaylee Lynn Podekar. Arman Ali Quraishi. Claire McCormick Reardon. Corey Anthony Roadhouse. Alessandra Rosalind Robinson. Blake Marie Robinson. Adam Landman Salemi. Elise Savay. Brittany Fawn Schmoose. Margaret McKenna Schrader. William Greening Shuett III. Samuel Emmett Scoville. Kenny Tuttle Service. Jenna Diane Cedar. Paul Thomas Shimshak. Ishan Sinha. Joseph Graham Slocum. Lanisha Rose Smith. Lane Garrett Stanford. Zachary James Steinbrenner. Alex Bernhard Tanner. Jessica Ann Trinkle. Aaron Schwartz Truel. Kelly Marie Venable. Ashton Reese Wackham. Corinne Elizabeth Walters. Colby Forbes Wangman. Thomas Brendan Wheeler. Elizabeth Goodman Wigdale. Colleen Marie Williams. That's it.
job, Zach.
Outstanding. All right, take all of your music with you, because this is not coming with collected.
True love will never fade. True love will never fade.